How a casual humiliated over 1,000 salty Yu-Gi-Oh players. Let's watch.
I just decided to enter on a whim, basically, and I ended up winning.
This is Marquise Henderson, a 16-year-old boy who has just performed the greatest upset in trading card game history.
In trading card game history, not just Yu-Gi-Oh! History. Oh my god, this has 1 million views already. I was thinking, like, so many people were recommending me this video. So, yeah, that sounds insane. I've never heard about this, so let's see.
Because he just won a 1,400-man Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship out of nowhere. Even more surprising was the fact that this was the first large Yu-Gi-Oh! Event he had ever attended.
See, that's why I don't go to tournaments, because I want to be this guy, right? I want to win my first ever tournament. That's why I don't go there, so I can retire with a 100% win rate.
Random kid who had never even won a local tournament would somehow embrace the heart of the cards to breeze through the top tables.
What was he playing?
Humiliating pro players along the way, some of whom were so salty that they refused to shake.
I saw his opponent from the round before refused to shake his hand. There is no way, dude. What was he playing? I saw Utopia there. How bad can it be?
The boy's hand after the match was over. You see, while his opponents used decks that cost thousands of dollars, Marquise instead scrounged together a deck using only cards that he could afford. But he would still somehow assemble a strategy that would completely counter the best decks in the metagame. Yet
that's Tengu. That's a good card. And there is also Mirror Force.
in the eyes of the elitist Yu-Gi-Oh community, not only was he a nobody, but he was piloting a mediocre, frustrating deck that they thought was terrible. So just how did he manage to conquer all odds and win a Yu-Gi-Oh championship? Well, allow me to explain. Our story starts in the year 2012, where Marquise is a freshman.
2012. Oh, we're getting there. 2012. That was 14 years ago, Chad. What were you doing 14 years ago? Were you even born? I assume most were in school. I assume most of you were in school in 2014. 2012 was the end of the world? Yeah, no, you're right. We're living in a simulation now. I was in middle school, going to high school. I was still in school. Yeah, that makes sense.
In high school, playing Yu-Gi-Oh casually with his friends during lunch. Though highly popular, Yu-Gi-Oh is one of the most expensive trading card games. Rare cards were frequently short printed, creating artificial scarcity, with the staple cards needed for each deck costing hundreds of dollars on the secondary market. Needless to say, it was difficult for anyone to acquire these powerful cards, never mind a boy in high school who had bigger priorities to save for, like hot lunch and Jordans. Now,
Jordans. Playing COD or something? I bet.
Yu-Gi-Oh was also one of the most complex games, often with rules that weren't written anywhere in the official rulebook. Because of these reasons, despite the game being marketed towards children, the average tournament would still comprise mainly of adults in their 20s and 30s. So being only 16 years old certainly made things a lot harder. Now, Marquise would learn from his friends that there was a local card store in their area that hosted Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments every Saturday.
Dude, this is beautiful. This is all I ever want from life. God, I wish that was me. There's no way. They never said how to launch it for the use. The hell?
With a flood of eager duelists occupying every square foot of the store. Though he consistently attended these tournaments for months, he would never win a single one.
I wasn't even really playing, but for like a year and a half.
Oh my god. He's an adult. It makes sense, but it's still scary. Like 2 minutes, even 2 minutes, and I just picture a child. It's like, yeah, this child is now an adult.
Started. But yeah, I'd never won locals before. I've been playing just with my friends and stuff like that.
Being a big city, the players in his local scene in Atlanta were much more skilled and had the budget to play the most powerful decks. Yet with each and every tournament, Marquise would slowly improve. After school,
from 16 to 30, oh my god. Jesus.
He would go online to research the metagame on forums and watch videos to learn the combos. Outside of drumline and basketball, Yu-Gi-Oh had quickly become his favorite hobby. While his skills were no doubt improving, being a high school student, he still didn't have access to the game's strongest cards. Popular decks at the time included the Dino Rabbit strategy, which leveraged the cuddly Rescue Rabbit.
What is this editing, dude? Why are we... Okay, dude. Rescue Rabbit. Iconic.
To summon out 2 normal dinosaurs that could be combined into the Evolzerlogia and Doka to negate card and monster effects.
Evolzer is that old? I didn't know Evolzer was that old. Interesting.
It would go toe-to-toe with the wind-ups, a combo deck that could set up an army of toys and rip away the opponent's hand on the first turn with a loop that involved recycling the wind-up hunter over and over again. But they made these decks really hard to put together. Their signature cards were printed in the highest rarity, secret rare, which meant you would be lucky to even pull one out of a box of 36 booster packs. To give you an example, Rescue Rabbit and Evolve Zardoka were both $80 each, and cards like Wind Up Zenmains were $150.
What the hell? What are these prices, dude? What, you can get a full deck with this amount of money now. Well, was expensive back then? I guess it's inflation and stuff, but still, it's just so weird. People saying cards were cheaper back then were lying. People are insane. But we go back to the same topic again, right? People saying that, oh, it was better before. It was more fun. It was whatever. It was cheaper. How, dude? You just didn't have real cards. You were just playing with absolute trash. That's why it was cheaper, because you weren't playing with actual good cards, right? And you can do that right now. You can get a super cheap deck of trash cards, and even now you can get like an actual really good deck for like $30. So I don't know what we're talking about here. There is no way things were cheaper before. Absolutely no way. Someone collecting $50 bills, I see. Yeah. Wind Up Zenmains. Pegasus scripted dual card. Oh. Okay, Snake Eyes didn't even cost as much as this. Yeah, wow. Okay.
And most of the time you could play up to 3 copies of a given card, so if you multiply that, it was pretty ridiculous even by modern day standards. But it gets worse, because there were 2 cards that were so powerful, every single deck would have to play them. Tour Guide from the Underworld was a
what? Fiends, right? The original Fiendslop.
generic monster that summoned Sangan from the deck, who could then search for all of the other deck's signature monsters when he was sent to the graveyard. But it also spawned 2 bodies for an instant XE summon. Like,
they made it prove like, oh yeah, you cannot synchro with this, but you can exist with it.
Levier the Sea Dragon to revive Rescue Rabbit, or Wind Up Zenmighty to summon out any wind-up. And 3 copies of Tour Guide cost $450 because of its secret rarity, and of course, the waifu tax. Then
the waifu tax. I cannot believe that he actually said that. No, that's the card from Farfa's background, yes.
there was Maxi, a shiny bug that let the user draw a card for every summon the opponent conducted on a given turn. A mandatory counter to heavy combo decks like the windups, and one of the only ways to circumvent the turn 1 hand loop when going second.
And here comes the infamous loop, folks.
It's ironically
I never actually seen anyone use windups. Really, that's when windups were the #1 thing, is I think when I stopped playing. Or I think I stopped playing before windups, and then I heard my friends talking about windups. So I actually never saw someone, but I remember the time where everyone was talking about windups. Yeah.
still one of the most powerful cards in modern day, which justifies its $100 price tag at the time. In total, this meant that you would have to spend well over $1,000 to build a solid Yu-Gi-Oh!
Over $1,000 to build a solid one, not even the best one, a solid one. Right now it's like a third of that, I think, right? To get an actual good one.
Deck. Without these staple cards, you were basically put at a significant disadvantage. A barrier that many players would struggle with at the time, and honestly that kind of continues to this day. Marquise would obviously feel players would struggle with at the time, and honestly that kind
Oh, I'm lying. Oh, I'm lying. I'm just straight up lying, I guess. Sorry, chat, I was lying. I know the chat is kind of covering it, but whoa. I guess I'm just a liar. Sorry, chat. I wasn't wrong. I was just lying.
of continues to this day. Marquise would obviously feel a little discouraged, knowing that this was an issue that he and his friends had faced. But one day in their group chat, one of Marquise's friends excitedly shared an idea.
Oh no, dude. You're not aware. Oh no, I know that this is relevant in Duel Links. This is a character. Give me a sec, just gonna sell my liver for those decks. Yeah, no, totally. I support you. That's people adding the Drown Tuner. Okay. Wait, hold on, what? The Drown Tuner? What? Huh? Yo, Marquis, you seen this deck? It won Nats last year. Low-key kinda nice, and cards are cheap. Wow, this looks pretty cool actually. Bro, I hate skill tree. Dude, Kevin is my Yoshi, dude. Thank you, Kevin. Bro, I hate skill train. I love this. Holy shit. Oh my god. We have a white tour guide. What the hell? You need a 3? Alright, what? Skill train was a 3 back then? That's crazy.
A deck that had somehow won the national championship the year prior out of nowhere. It was a TG stun deck.
My friend showed me, he's like, oh, like this deck is cheap, you can play this deck. I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot.
A strategy that leveraged using trap cards to stun the opponent out from playing. Like skill.
No, I don't want to support our friend here. There's no way, it's a flute game player, no.
Skill Drain, which as the name would imply, negated all monster effects on the field.
Skill Drain stops everything. And in my head, I was like, I didn't know too much. I was like reading all the cards. I'm like, is this not the best card in the game?
Now, the whole concept of the TG deck was to stun out the opponent using the trap cards, while the Tech Genesis monsters would replace themselves when they were destroyed in combat, creating a cycle of near infinite resources while whittling down the opponents using the traps. And since these effects activated in the graveyard, they were unaffected by Skill Drain, which only negated monster effects on the field.
This deck is like great. Like this is the one I just win the most with. I just played so much with it. Played it for like 5 or 6 months, just that one deck.
Marquise quickly.
I think I've never heard of TG. That's... Oh. Tech Genesis? Is it Tech Genesis or Tech Genius? What?
Jumped onto the idea. The cards were relatively cheap for the most part and easily accessible. The only problem with this deck was that its competitiveness was rather short-lived. By this time, it had since been outclassed by newer cards and excessive power creep that was difficult for trap-based decks to keep up with, especially when going second. So the deck had been dropped by the rest of the player base. But Marquise would continue playing TGs. It became his signature deck, and he strove to make it even better, making tweaks to it day by day. This would continue for the next...
He's actually creating stuff. He's just not copying the deck. He's actually doing it.
Few months, and as time passed, Marquise would eventually participate in regional tournaments. These were events on a larger scale that would attract stronger opponents, often a few hundred, who would travel from other cities in hopes of placing in the top percentile to receive an invite to the national championship.
Oh, TG Librarian. Okay, TG Librarian is the only card that I know from that archetype. I didn't know it was an archetype. I just thought that was his name. I didn't know he was an archetype.
Championship held at the end of the year. His best finish at these regionals would be a 7-3 final record, a career highlight. An impressive feat on paper, but not exactly notable in the competitive Yu-Gi-Oh scene, for you would typically need a 9-1 record to place in the top 8 and receive prizing. So naturally, no one in the competitive scene would know the name Marquise Henderson, never mind even in his own local area. But just a few months later, this would change completely.
Oh no. I'm scared.
It was soon announced that Atlanta would be the host city for the next Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series, the most competitive tournament at the...
oh my god! Oh my god, is that Vanquisol K9 versus Branded Dracotail? Metabad?
Highest peak of the game that would draw over 1,000 duelists, including notable pro players who dominated the tournament circuit. Now, Marquise was rather unfamiliar with championship-level tournaments. His familiarity with competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Was limited mostly to his area, with regional tournaments being the extent of what he had experienced. So when his friends told him about YCS Atlanta, he figured it'd be the size of regionals, with 100 players or 2 at most. But he had no idea that this...
Dude, I will throw up there. Hello, Inti. Welcome. If I was here, I don't think my social anxiety. I'm too introverted for this. There is no way. I will be like shitting and pissing and throwing up, dude. There is no way. Is if you watch the video of the TG anime duelist? Hell, guess what day it is? Is it your birthday? Happy birthday, Inti. You're about to see some disgusting prices, Pepper. I'm scared. Zoom in. Can you spot a girl? We saw like girls in this video before, I think, but I'm pretty sure there is at least a few.
This would be something far greater than you would have ever imagined.
My friend just told me about this event. Like I didn't know what it was going to be. I thought it was like 50, 100 people. My dad, the first day I went to the event, YCS, he's like chilling in the free convention center. He's like, oh yeah, we can go to the convention center. I'll go with you.
Please do not play near the escalators or and staircase. Yeah, I feel like that's a given. Is it actually your birthday? Happy birthday! I actually mean it. Happy birthday.
you.
On the Friday of the tournament, his dad would drive him to the venue.
What the hell is this? What? Dude, the editing in this video is crazy. I love this editing. This is amazing.
To pick up their entry badges, and only upon entering would he be shocked by the sheer scale of the event. Instead of a few hundred players, there was well over 1,000.
There was like a million people running around. I'm like, I don't even want to enter. He's like, you have to enter. We're already here. I'm like, okay, I'll enter.
A robust hall filled with the most competitive, daring challengers, many of whom had ventured from the opposite side of the country to test their skills. You see, the winners of this tournament in particular would receive the coveted Blood Mephist prize card that to this day sells for
What is this, dude? $20,000? Excuse me? $20,000. Holy. To me, this is life-changing money. There is no way.
thousands of dollars. Unlike the other
I think I've seen it before. I think I've seen it before in this type of videos, but I've never seen this card actually being played though. Yeah, I've never seen this card being played, but I've heard about this card when people are talking about prize cards and stuff like that. But no, I actually don't know what it does. What does it say? Once per turn during your opponent's standby phase, you can inflict 300 damage to your opponent for each card your opponent controls. Each time your opponent sets a spell or trap, inflicts damage to your opponent. And it's a level 8 synchro. It's alright. 20k for a piece of cardboard is insane. Yeah, no. Well. Alright.
prize cards, and for reasons unknown, the Blood Mephist has never been reprinted. Rumors say it's due to
never been reprinted. What the hell?
legal reasons with the card's original artist, meaning that the only copies of the card in existence to this very day were the limited copies given out to the winners of these tournaments.
Oh, okay, then it makes perfect sense why I never seen it. Interesting.
Making it now one of the rarest cards in Yu-Gi-Oh history. So naturally, there was a big prize at stake. But
so yeah, obviously, right? People outside of they don't care about Yu-Gi-Oh. They see this like 20k for a piece of cardboard. That's crazy. Well, it's a very unique card. Yeah. How's it worth we playing that card? I don't know. Is it legal to play? Is that legal? Can someone just play this? Because it's not even good, right? It's alright. At the time, maybe it was really good, but I don't know. Yes, it is legal to play, even though there is only a few copies of it. People usually also... Yes, it's legal. That's crazy. Usually also only sell that card for charity events. Oh. Interesting.
Before the tournament had even begun, these players had already activated their strongest card, the credit card. The vendors were completely overwhelmed, with players swiping left and right, forced to pay premiums on last-minute cards that they needed for competition the very next day. Most of them were using Dino Rabbit or Windups, with a few other decks in between that were equally as pricey. Luckily for Marquise, the expensive cards in his TG deck, like Pot of Duality and Solemn Warning, had already been reprinted the year prior, costing only a few dollars instead of hundreds. But
only a few dollars instead of hundreds. Wild.
Nevertheless, he still wanted to make important additions to his deck where possible. With only $40 left to his name, Max C was out of the equation, certainly putting him at a disadvantage, especially when going second, and he would perhaps be the only player in the entire hall that was not playing the card.
What language is that? Also, hello, Orange Cat with murdering intent. Hi, welcome. I'm good, thank you. But I appreciate it.
But at the same time, he had a feeling inside that for his trap-heavy deck, he wouldn't need it. And you know, saving $300 didn't seem like a bad idea either. Instead, Marquise walked up to the vendors and decided to finally splurge on a lone copy of Bryanak, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. A card that wasn't necessary for the deck at all, but could be made in niche scenarios with a TG Striker, and was another step to optimizing his deck into the strongest it could possibly be for the tournament the next day.
This is a rare side of Yugi actually deck building. To me, this is crazy. We usually don't see this.
Spent my last $40 on the Bryonak. that I needed for my deck. I summoned it once, but it won me the game, so it was freaking worth it.
Lastly, in place of the Max C, he opted instead to run 2 copies of the Beast King Barbaros, a card that had never seen play before. Though
What's this do? You can normal summon this card without tributing, but its original attack becomes 1900. You can tribute 3 monsters to tribute... You can tribute 3 monsters to tribute summon, but not set this card. If summoned this way, destroy all cards your opponent controls. Always felt like Yui will put... Yeah, because it's scripted, right? Obviously. Good mentality, I won because that card, so it was worth it. Obviously, right? Yeah. Guilford, the lightning, but bear, basically. Is it? In a Yu-Gi-Oh character deck building is like a bat of or hot spring scene in our anime. What?
printed as a level 8 with an attack value of 3000, Beast King had an effect that would allow its user to drop its attack to 1900 and normal summon it without...
Oh, this is good because of a skill drain. Oh, okay. So you can just summon it because the effect is on hand, right? You can just normal summon it without tributing, but because the effect is negated, it keeps 3000 attack. So it's just a big meatball. It's just a big meatball. Oh, this is awesome, dude.
Tributing any monsters. But while Skill Drain was on the field, it would negate this drawback completely and restore its attack back to 3000, threatening even the Blue Eyes White Dragon. His deck would maximize the full capacity of Skill Drain, a card whose potential he recognized early on. Thunder King Ryle would stun the opponent from searching their deck for cards, while Horn of the Phantom Beast boosted his beast monsters and let him draw a card each time the monster trampled over an opposing one by battle. And last but not least, Reborn Tengu was a pesky beast warrior who could be powered up by the horn and also replace itself when it was removed from the field. In total, his deck would cost just over $100, and most of the players in the hall would scoff at the idea of this deck being remotely competitive.
I wonder
until
why.
day one of the tournament kicked off, which would start off extremely well for Marquise Henderson, who jump-started his event with 6 wins and 0 losses, with his friends shocked beyond belief. Marquise was completely locked in.
I ended up going 6-0, and that's when I was like, what the heck? So
He would only drop his
Not even himself believed it. There is no way.
first match in round 7 to an empty jar deck, another rogue strategy that relied on decking out the opponent by looping the morphing jar over and over again.
And then I lost round 7 to very insane opponent. I'm sitting here reading, is this works? Yeah, this works. So this freaking empty jar guy, I even flipped skill drain on him, and he's literally still killing me through skill drain, flip up and then I'll chain book a moon. Okay, now it's face down, I'll dump your hand again. I was like, what? What are you talking about?
But outside of this, all of his other opponents had utilized powerful meta decks, and some of these opponents became perturbed, for Marquise would have to read a lot of their cards, which agitated them even further.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh, this is so scary. This is such an anxiety nightmare for me. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I've never seen that card. It's not in Master Duel. Can I read it, please? I have never seen that Draco Tail card. What the hell? Oh no.
Because this dude was going around playing a frustrating rogue deck, but also reading the popular cards that they would have expected him to know with a 6-0 record at a major tournament like this. And both his opponents and the judges were especially shocked to find that Marquise wasn't familiar with the combos and rulings that they thought were basic.
He didn't know meta. He didn't know the rules of the game. No way. I read everything and anything mostly happens in branded opponent. What the hell?
When I say I wasn't really that into the game, I hadn't played for that long, the judge had to explain me for a minute or two about the rulings of Wind Up Shark and Wind Up Magician. So I'm like, how does that work? And I'm like, I don't know, whatever. I had to read a lot of the cards. Yeah, it's just a lot. I didn't know dueling was that much.
It also pissed him off even further that he was flipping cards like Skill Drain that nullified their expensive cards.
Some people didn't like the deck because obviously you just stun your opponent, stuff like that. Yeah, it is what it is. Obviously I drew the right traps very often, drew Skill Drain a lot.
These players were completely shocked, and word of mouth spread pretty quickly. Online chatter slowly begun with rumors of an unknown duelist who was playing in his first ever YCS with a budget version of an outdated deck idea that pissed off the pro players at the top table.
Remember when the rulebook came with the structure decks? Yeah, I remember. and he just activated one fucking card, and then he didn't need to know what the effects were. So true. So true.
While many reveled in the chaos and cheered Marquis on, others were less than optimistic. Some of the pro players at the event even refused to shake his hand after the match, as they were extremely salty about the prospect of losing to such a player, and a deck that locked them down from playing. Never mind one that was full of cheap, low-rarity cards.
I don't know if he appreciated, like, I just kept drawing skill drain. I kept drawing freaking skill drain, and he actually MST'd when I flipped another one in response. So I just have freaking 2 skill drains. He killed when I just have another one. So he was mad about that.
Marquis would play against several.
I would be mad about that. I'm like, how is it possible? How can I lose to this guy? My deck is 10 times more expensive. There is no way.
Several opponents utilizing the Dino Rabbit deck, a matchup that he found to be favorable midway throughout the tournament. He would set as many trap cards as possible and then use skill drain to lock out their signature Evolzar monsters.
What I was
His cards aren't even Gucci. He's a brokey. How am I losing? I fist bump instead of handshake. It's fine. That's fine. At least you acknowledge the point of the handshake, right?
most afraid of was the Dino Rabbit deck, because they can just like, it's like a free negate. I'm like, oh well, you can't even get around that. There's nothing you can do. I didn't even know what Dino Rabbit did at the time. I was scared of it. Some of the matches were just like brain dead easy. It wasn't even me. It was just like a good meta choice.
And at this point, you're probably wondering how he did so well. I mean, it's his first major tournament. He's picking up cards to read them. His opponents are frustrated. What was the secret sauce that Marquis had implemented? Well, for starters, none of his opponents were really prepared, and many of their decks would lack adequate trap removal or ways to counter skill drain. You see, a lot of these players weren't even playing Mystical Space Typhoon, which was a classic way to destroy a spell and trap card.
Yeah, I know you made a joke about where your hands have been. Yeah, no, okay. Remember Fuyo Friendship because of the rule changes? Yeah. You cannot handshake, yeah.
In its place, they instead elected to play high-impact hand disruption cards that could be used on the first turn to try and stop the opponent from comboing, like
Hand
Effect
traps
Failure to negate
in
the
my
wind-up
old
combo.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
And ironically, these cards happen to be absolutely useless against Marquis's TG stun deck, which neither summoned a lot of monsters nor utilized their effects.
Because no one really cares about like the trap decks back then. Like, at least in that specific event, a lot of people just didn't even play MST. And I don't think some of them cited it. It was kind of smooth sailing if you just get that up and it was like, you can stun your opponent. Because a lot of people didn't see it coming.
Since no one was prepared for it, this meant that skill drain was there to stay on Marquis's field, allowing him to ultimately finish with an impressive 9-2 final record.
I called my dad, I was like, oh yeah, you're just going to play in the tournament, have fun, whatever. And I called him after like round 9, I was like, oh, I think I have to come back. I think I have to come back to this. And he's like, why? I'm like, well, there's like a day 2. And I guess like I made the day 2. He's like, okay, we'll come back.
Also, if you guys are enjoying this video, don't forget to subscribe
What
to
the
the
hell
channel.
is this? Did we see the same thing there? Hello? Is that official? There is no way, right? Oh, wait. I should have just gone here.
Like I made the day 2. He's like, okay, we'll come back.
Also,
What? I think it's official, chat. I think this is an actual thing that exists. There is no way. Is that Tristan? The hell? Who is this? Who even is this? Who invited her?
so if you guys are enjoying this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and touch that like button. After the 11 Swiss rounds, the final standings were announced before the top 32 players would face off in a sudden death playoff bracket to ultimately decide the winner of the tournament. And in 12th place was none other than Marquis Henderson. His friends erupted in cheers. Marquis had done the impossible. He had made the top cut of a tournament with almost 1,400 players and defeated multiple pro players along the way with his own unique strategy. But his job wasn't done yet. He still had more Yu-Gi-Oh! To play. His top 32 and top 16 matches would be against Alistair Albanes and Michael Lux, 2 pro players with dozens of prior accolades, the former with a 2nd place championship finish and the latter a 1st place champion. Both players were using Dino Rabbit, which skill drain and a plethora of traps would take care of.
I was in the top cut, and you know they like rope off the freaking place for you for like the duelist to play. And I'm like looking at the concession, so that I won like, oh, can I go over there? And he's like, no, you can't go any. You got to freaking stay here and do. I'm like, oh, this is freaking serious. Like, what the heck? I can't believe they're like keeping tabs on you. I was like, okay.
On an empty stomach, top 8 would be an uphill battle, for his opponent John Oxendine would utilize a wind-up strategy that could.
Why this guy has like a photo shoot of, or is this like a profile picture? What is this?
spell doom for Marquise if he went second. Like I mentioned earlier, the deck had a signature turn 1 combo that could discard nearly every single card in Marquise's hand before he even had a turn to play, especially because his deck lacked the one defensive card that could refill his hand to prevent this, Max C. But luckily for Marquise, he would win the die roll and go first, setting up skill drain, which was more than enough to stop the windups from, well, winding up.
I did like go second against a lot of wind. They just didn't have hand. Again, I just lucky. I don't know what the statistics of that are.
Narrowly avoiding disaster thanks to a little bit of luck with the dice roll, the semi-final match would once again test his fortune.
Wind up? they are really cute, yes, but they're also like in concept, it's a cool concept of the toy wind-up toys. I feel like I would play that, maybe. I don't know. Would I play that? No, I don't think I will.
It was another wind-up opponent, a pro player by the name of Anthony Pasquarello. Now, Anthony's deck actually played 2 copies of Mystical Space Typhoon, and though Marquise would open the dice roll once again with a set skill drain, Anthony would open with both copies of Mystical Space Typhoon, but the rest of his hand didn't contain any monsters, allowing Marquise to
no, bro, breaked.
Simply beat him down. Even more interesting was the fact that Anthony had anticipated the existence of rogue trap decks, and to account for this even further, he would also side deck copies of Royal Decree, a continuous trap card that negated the effects of all other trap cards. And in the second game, he would open with a copy of Royal Decree and Mystical Space Typhoon, the perfect cards to counter Marquise's strategy. But just like in the first game, the rest of his hand was rather weak, with a lone wind-up rabbit as his only line of offense, which wasn't the card he needed to initiate the wind-up hand loop combo. And not only this, but Marquise would top deck his own copy of Mystical Space Typhoon to destroy the Royal Decree, allowing him to set up his army of trap cards and ultimately win the match. Marquise's Guardian Angel was evidently working overtime.
Okay, I don't want to be mean, and I don't want to be that guy that is like salty about this again, even though this happened like, what was it? 14 years ago? But like, it seems like he's getting lucky. It just seems like he's getting lucky. I don't know.
Ironically, Hansei Aguero, the winner of Nationals a year prior and the pioneer of the TG stun deck, yes, the very man whom Marquise got his idea from in the first place, would also make the top cut with Dino Rabbit. But he would be knocked out early by another player, so the two wouldn't cross paths. But he would give Marquise a few motivational words for what would be the most important match in his entire life, the finals. His opponent would be the last remaining Dino Rabbit player in the tournament, and the stakes were higher than ever.
The guy in the finals, his name was Roman Rodriguez. I still frequently remember him. Great opponent. It was a great duel. He actually said in the middle, he's like, don't take my picture. And the staff was like, well, we need a picture. He's like, no, I don't do picture. So like, you won't find a picture of him anywhere. So had he come in first, you actually wouldn't have a picture of the winner at all.
Okay, I'm gonna be mean. You said, yeah, which people are saying was how Jesse Cotton won, well, because shit, this Decotail bad, and he won. Lucky self for playing card. Well, but you have to understand the difference between Jesse Cotton, who has won other 8, I think, or 8 YCS, right? He's consistently being good every time, right? So even if it's like whatever that he's doing that seems like weird, it's like, oh, he's definitely cooking something, right? But like, if you're playing against someone who literally doesn't know the rules, I feel like it's fair to assume that he's like lucky, right? Yeah, but Decotail bad? Ugh, I guess. I didn't know you could refuse a picture, that's cool. Huh?
Honestly, Marquise would go first yet again and set up the deck's most optimal opening play, a Beast King Barbaros backed behind 4 powerful trap cards, with, you guessed it, one of them being skill drain. But the icing on top was a Starlight Road that would protect his field from being wiped away by Roman's Heavy Storm.
Oh my god.
In the second game, with his back against the wall staring down his worst nightmare in the form of 2 Ovosarlagias, he would somehow top deck a Pot of Duality, revealing the top 3 cards of his deck to add one to his hand.
I used 2 traps, beat 2 negates, but I'm still like dying. Did duality and I got Dark Hole. I freaking cleared it. So like, it was like the double Agia, like the thing I was most afraid of. I ended up like somehow getting out of that. It was so lucky.
With the last revealed card miraculously being the Dark Hole that he needed to wipe away his opponent's entire board.
This is what I'm saying.
This was a game-winning move that would raise the trophy and the Blood Mephist into the air by the newly crowned champion of YCS Atlanta, Marquise Henderson.
I'm Marquise Henderson.
Speak a little louder, bro.
I'm Marquise Henderson. I just decided to enter on a whim, basically. I decided to enter with TG Stun, and I ended up winning.
Like I didn't even like realize after I won. I was so locked in at the end of the day. I was like, at the end of like the finals, I was like, I don't know. Like I didn't know what to do. I was like, we're still no more dueling. Like I actually was just in the thick of it. I called my dad. Like,
It happens. It happens.
With word of his victory, the entire YugiNet erupted. While the reaction was generally positive, many people couldn't fathom that a nobody had won such a prestigious tournament, especially a first-timer. And of course with a strategy that no one felt was playable. Now, funny enough, there would be another TG Stun deck in the top 32 alongside Marquise, propelling the deck to finally be respected once more. But the pros were angry. They felt that Marquise's deck building was suboptimal. He had played a budget-friendly alternative to the optimal build, foregoing important metagame cards like Maxi that, in their opinion, was a non-negotiable. It was the only way of winning against windups when going second. Beyond that, they also said his ratios were incorrect, like playing one lone copy of Solemn Warning, one of the most powerful trap cards in the game that could negate any summon. Then they molded at the fact that Marquise had side decked 3 copies of Des Wombat, a card that was played for the sole purpose of countering burn decks.
Alright, nobody probably knows what this card
That's so funny.
Man, read this, please. Go ahead, continue.
No effect damage.
I really hate burn. I never sided him because I never played chamber, which I'm so happy about. You didn't play too much windup.
Except that burn decks were rogue in particular, and it was highly unlikely that anyone had entered a championship tournament with one. Meaning Marquise
I
had
mean,
effectively...
it's as likely as him playing his also bullshit deck. So this could also happen. I think it's like a realistic thing to expect, right? Because that absolutely counters you, right? So I don't see why not. Yeah, he was playing a rogue deck. Yeah, exactly.
wasted 3 critical slots in his 15-card side deck to account for a non-competitive deck that he'd encountered once or twice at locals. But it gets even worse. One popular rumor would spread online saying that Marquise was autistic, which wasn't true.
Excuse me?
One popular rumor would
He is autistic, so it's nice to see a kid like him still win. What the fuck? Excuse me? Okay, and even if that was the case, like, what about it? What the hell?
spread online saying that Marquise was autistic, which wasn't true at all, but okay.
It's actually funny. During the tournament, they did start a rumor that I was autistic, and like, oh, this autistic kid won the event. It's like great, blah blah. And it's freaking. I thought it was funny, but no, I'm not autistic anyway. But they started that rumor.
Their only way of rationalizing that Marquise had won was the
Believe
possibility
that.
of him being a savant, someone who had become a Yu-Gi-Oh genius.
Oh, because he wasn't nervous? Huh? It's because this was his first tournament and he was nervous. It's weird.
Right. Some would accuse him of cheating, saying that the only plausible explanation was sleight of hand or rigging of the game and not talent. After all, he had completely shaken up the expectations of what should have won. In their eyes, only a pro player should have been able to win, and using a deck that
Hard
cost
copy.
thousands of
So true.
dollars. A lot of players online would complain about Marquise getting extremely lucky, almost uncharacteristically. One commenter would say, just gonna throw this out there, but the 2 feature matches they put up, his opponents had pretty bad hands, and he had outs to everything. Dude has Yugi level luck.
I think that's true. I think like it can happen every now and then that someone just gets extremely lucky. I don't think he was cheating. I genuinely think he just got that luck. He's just like that lucky, obviously, not to diminish the rest of the deck building and stuff, right? Because he obviously had a plan, but he also got lucky. There is no way.
He would frequently win the dice roll and go first, which was the crucial way of winning with a trap deck that could set up an army of defensive options before the opponent got a chance to play. They explored every possible angle to discredit Marquise's victory, but at the same time, others would defend him. Excited that a rogue strategy had won the event, piloted by a new player who had put the rich and the mighty in their place, showing everyone that Yu-Gi-Oh wasn't just about activating the credit card.
I think way more people were just like, hey, listen, like this is a cool deck. You know, I didn't expect to win. This is a nice thing that happened. So honestly, it was way more positive than negative. People came.
Oh, obviously, right? It can happen. It's a good thing, I guess. I don't know. I just don't like Floodgates winning. I just don't like that idea.
up afterwards, like, oh, I really want to play this deck. I think this deck is cool.
Ironically, after his victory, many players even adapted and would begin playing the TG Stun deck. If a 16-year-old kid who had never entered a championship could win with an incomplete build, then the deck had certainly outperformed in some capacity.
But it was only good because no one was expecting it. If everyone starts building that, then it's not good anymore because everyone will be prepared for that. Hello, Hector. Welcome, welcome. The rich lost, so that's what matters. Well, the other guys were also playing flute gates. Oh, everyone was playing flute gates? Okay, well. If they didn't want you to play stun, why they wouldn't make stun cheap? No. It's cheap because it's bad.
This was short-lived, however, as the deck was almost immediately hit on the ban list, with both TG Striker and Reborn Tengu, two of the deck's main monsters, being restricted. Though not necessarily due to the TG Stun deck, for both of these cards were also abused in other decks around the same time, catching it in the crossfire.
But yeah, that was literally my first big event. The stars aligned. That's all I'll say. The stars aligned.
Yeah, he acknowledges.
It was a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh going on. A lot of Yu-Gi-Oh moments. But that was the only YCS I ever entered, and I ended up winning.
At the end of the day, it seems that all the stars would
100% win
align
rate
for Marquise to win the championship on that fateful weekend. A combination of fortune, his opponents being unprepared, and the power of skill drain were all factors that played into this. But regardless, his skill was what mattered the most. No matter how lucky you get, you still have to be extremely good at the game to win a championship of 1,400 players. But all of this would come together perfectly to allow him to achieve the greatest monumental feat in competitive Yu-Gi-Oh history. Nevertheless, this would seemingly be the most fortuitous weekend for Marquise Henderson, as he would never again perform at a major Yu-Gi-Oh tournament.
To this day, actually, that was the only YCS I ever entered. But that was the only YCS I ever entered, and I ended up winning.
Instead, retiring from play and starting his own trading card vending booth in Atlanta at the popular card show Charlie's Collectible Show.
I ended up just vending mostly just Yu-Gi-Oh, but it just became more and more. Well, I have a booth in Charlie's Collectible Show, both in the Atlanta and the Houston locations. I can't say enough about Charlie's Collectible Show. Like, they're insane. Like, the owner's done a lot for me. Maybe 60 or 70 like card vendors, anime, sports, like video games.
With a booth called Trading Cards LLC, so if you're in the Atlanta or Houston area, definitely go check out the show. Who knows, you might even see the legend in person. And what happened to the prized Blood Mephist, you might ask?
So because I was 16, I was kind of broke. When I realized that card was actually worth money, I sold it on eBay. Somebody told me it was $1,000. I'm like, I'll just list it for $6.
This is the most shocking part. Oh my god, this hurts the most, bro. No, he was a teenager. Yeah, but yeah, I guess $600 is a lot for a teenager, but like, it was $1,000. Come on. Come on. Yeah, yeah, I guess. I don't know.
$600. Someone had bought it like that day, and I was like, somebody got a good deal. There you go. Hopefully somebody still has and they're taking care of it. But I still have the trophy, of course.
Regardless, his accomplishment would forever be ingrained as one of the greatest miracles in Yu-Gi-Oh history, with the community recognizing that Marquise had overcome every possible adversity to embrace the heart of the cards and achieve the impossible.
Oh, that's the video. Okay. That's awesome. That's awesome. Really cool video. Really cool story. I wasn't aware of this. And as always, it's cool to see how the meta was different back then and how the community was also different back then. That's really cool. So... Wait, dude. This is awesome.
The expensive cards in
This is so awesome. Will this ever happen again? Do you think someone could like get like you know, the stars align and stuff and have Yu-Gi-Oh moments, like Heart of the Cards moments, and just completely destroy the... I feel like people are also not prepared. Like, this could happen, not realistically. This could happen. It can happen again. But yeah, it's really hard to replicate. We're nearing a 30th anniversary. Yeah. Unigraph is basically this now. No one knows what to do. I think that's not true. I feel like pro players will always know if that's a deck that is played right now. So yeah.